We have seen that the story of creation in Genesis 1 adjusts the original mythological tradition to the religious ideas of the Bible. The adaptation includes an omission of the battle with the sea monster from the story. However, Genesis 1 is not the only biblical creation account. Ancient poetic creation traditions appear here and there in the Bible. These are fragmented and abbreviated traditions. They do not transmit a full, coherent creation narrative. But if we carefully collect and integrate them, a surprising discovery is revealed. It turns out that the Bible does include hints of the ancient war between God and the sea. Let's look at some examples. The prophet Isaiah says,
"Awake, awake, clothe yourself with strength, O arm of the Lord. Awake as in days of old, as in former ages. It was you that hacked Rahab in pieces, that pierced the sea monster."
With these words, the prophet attempts to arouse God's mighty arm. He wishes for a restoration of the power that God's arm possessed at the beginning of history, the days of old. In that ancient period, the prophet tells us, the arm of God defeated two creatures, Rahab and Tanin. But he gives us no more information. The circumstances of God's victory remain mysterious, and the story itself is not told. We only get a hint of this ancient great battle. Similar hints are scattered throughout the Bible. Here is another example from the book of Job.
"Who alone spread out the heavens and trod on the back of the sea. God does not withdraw his anger. Under him Rahab's helpers stooped."
Job tells us here that at the time of creation, when God spread out the heavens, he also prevailed over Rahab and his helpers. Again, the story of the battle is not told, but there is another hint. In addition to Rahab, God also defeated the sea and trod on its back. Unlike in Genesis 1, the sea here is not a natural element of nature, but a mythological creature who has a back. And here is another piece of information which can be gleaned from the short description. Rahab did not act alone, he had assistants. After the battle, these assistants became enslaved to God and accepted his authority. Our last example is taken from the book of Psalms. While glorifying God, the psalmist refers to God's battle with the sea and its helpers.
"You broke the sea in pieces by your strength. You shattered the heads of the sea monsters in the waters. You crushed the heads of Leviathan. You gave him to be food to the sea creatures."
Based on these and many similar verses, we can reconstruct a lost ancient Israelite myth. This myth told how, before creation, God fought the sea and its creatures that rebelled against him. He killed or enslaved the sea creatures and silenced the raging sea. Some of the ancient names of the sea creatures are preserved in the Bible. In the verses we read before, we found Rahab, Tanin, and Leviathan. After defeating the sea and its creatures, God began creating the world. This reconstructed story is much more similar to Enuma Elish than Genesis 1.